Hi everybody, welcome back. I've got an update for my Pan Those Eyeshadow Palettes challenge for you today. I want to completely try and use up 2 eyeshadow palettes this year. The first one is the Revolution Reloaded Hypnotic palette. I've only got 6 shades left in here. Last year I did work my way through the entire palette and I just scraped out the shades that I didn't like, so I'm left with the 6 shades that I do, so I want to use up all 6 of those, along with my mostly Modern Renaissance ABH shades. There's 9 Modern Renaissance shades in here and 5, really struggled to count up to 14 then, 5 Norvina shades in this palette, and a similar thing, I want to completely use up all 14 shades in there. So I'm going to update you on the progress of these palettes. I'm going to start off actually with the Revolution one. I will be honest, I have not used this palette at all since the previous update. I did say that I want to try and use these 2 palettes at the same time, but to be honest, I'm just only enjoying using this one at the moment. This is the palette that I'm just dipping into. I'm not touching the Revolution one at all. So I think I'm going to actually park the Revolution one for the moment until I use up a couple of shades in here, and then I will go back to the Revolution palette and then start working on those similar shades that I used up from the ABH one. So no progress, no updates for the Revolution one, but I will come back to it. But like I say, I'm just enjoying using the ABH one at the moment. So this one will make a reappearance in a couple of months or so, but I do still intend on completely using it up if I can. So back to the Modern Renaissance Norvina palette. I'm going to put up a picture on the screen actually of the most recent update, the previous update picture, and how it was looking at the very beginning. So you will see about 6 lines of eyeshadow pans. It will be quite a busy picture, but hopefully it will make sense. The top picture is the introductory picture. The middle picture is how we were looking at the previous check-in, and then the picture at the bottom is how we are looking today. So from first glance you can see that there are some changes going on in this palette. There are some pans that have gotten even bigger. I will do what I did last time and I will talk you through each individual shade. So the first shade is Tempera. I started off with a fairly decent sized pan in it. It got even bigger in the last update and it's really big today. There's only product left in like the corners of this pan, so this one should be completely finished with this month. I'm not taking this palette with me on holiday though, so I'm hoping to still use it all up despite that. That shade I used 20 times and that is my focus shade at the moment when it comes to setting my eyeshadow primer, so I'm using this eyeshadow basically every single time that I wear makeup. The next shade I used 14 times. This is Golden Ochre. There's not much visible progress going on in this one at the moment, but it is fairly flat to begin with. So I think this one is going to take a couple of months until I start to see a big dip going on in it, and then hopefully a pan. The next shade along is Vermeer. I only used this one 4 times, but saying that, the pan has gotten bigger in comparison to the previous month's update. So good visible progress despite only using it 4 times. The next shade is Base. There's not much difference between this update and the previous update because I've only used it once, but the biggest change is from the initial photo. I've got quite a decent sized pan now. This shade is very, very similar to Tempera, so I'm not going to use Base until I've completely used Tempera up. So I think my usage of Base next month will be quite low. It will depend on how quickly I can get through Tempera. Shade number 5 is Incense. This is actually from Norvina. This is a really great warm brown crease shade and also for lining my under eye. This is the only pan in this palette this month that I've managed to hit pan on. I hit pan on it on the 21st. This month I've used it a total of 18 times. This is a really great shade, a really lovely shade, a go-to warm brown shade for me. The next one is also from Norvina. This is called Eccentric. I used this one 9 times. This is a really lovely, pure, warm orange colour. Very, very warm shade. The pan, the line, has gotten slightly bigger. The difference is a lot more visible in person than it is in this photo. The last shade on that top row is Cypress Umber. I've used this one 14 times. I use this with a thin eyebrow brush actually to help blend out my pencil eyeliner a little bit. The pan has gotten a little bit bigger, but the shadow next to the pan is getting really thin, so I think this will start to kind of crumble away or get even bigger next month. So row number 2, the first shade on row number 2 is Raw Sienna. The pan on this one is getting bigger and bigger. This one and the one next to it, Burnt Orange, these two I mix together and I use these both as a crease shade. So these, like with Tempera, are eyeshadow colours that I wear every single time that I wear makeup. I've worn both of those 20 times and they've both gotten even bigger. I think the progress on both of these are pretty steady. They looked pretty similar in the top photo, again pretty similar in the second photo, and they look again very similar in the bottom photo. So I think these will both be used up very, very close to each other. The third shade on that bottom row is called Primavera. This is a great light champagne gold kind of colour. This again is like one of my go-to colours in this palette. I used it 14 times and the pan has gotten even bigger. I had a pan to begin with in this palette, which is great, and then the pan has just gotten bigger and bigger. I'm hoping that one will take another couple of months possibly until it's completely used up. The next shade is called Summer. This one is from Norvina. I've only used this one twice. It's very similar to Primavera, but I do prefer Primavera over Summer, so that's why I've only used Summer twice. I think once I've used Primavera, I'll then go and use Summer a little bit more, but at the moment I'm just favouring Primavera. The fifth shade is called Dreamer. This is also from the Norvina palette. This is a beautiful, like pure warm gold colour. It's stunning. Another one of my like go-tos in this palette. I use this one with Primavera. So Primavera I use in like the first third or first 2/3 maybe of my eyelid, and then I put some of Dreamer in the outer corner. And again, that pan has gotten even bigger. Hopefully this will be another one that'll only take another 2 to 3 months to completely use up, and I used it 14 times. The penultimate shade is called Warm Taupe. This one I like to mix with what is called Antique Bronze in the row above it, to the left slightly, but it's actually Incense. These two I mix together and I run under my lower lash line, and they both work really nicely together. I can use Warm Taupe on its own as a bit of a contour as well, so it can double up like that. I've used that one 15 times. I've got a good dip going on in that one now, so I'm hoping hitting pan isn't going to be too far off, but whether I do that before I go on holiday or not, I'm not too sure. And then the last pan I used 9 times. This is a very warm dark orange shade. This is called Railgar. Used it 9 times. Not too much visible progress going on this one. This shade and Golden Ochre are very full. They're very kind of like flat, so these two shades are going to be the shades that will take the longest to see some progress in, I think. So those were the updates as to how we're looking in comparison to the previous 2 check-ins. So I'm really happy with my progress in this palette. I mean, looking at the picture here on my phone, there are quite a few shades where there are really big pans. So Tempera, that one will hopefully be used up this month. Then I'll start working on base, or what is called Buon Fresco in the picture, and then that one should hopefully take me another couple of months. And then same with Raw Sienna, Burnt Orange, Primavera, Dreamer. I think those shades are going to be the ones that I will use up first. So I'm hoping by the first half of the year that will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shades entirely used up. If I manage that, I'm going to be really, really pleased. But even if I don't, I'm still really happy with the progress in this palette. I'm hitting pan on new shades, the pans are expanding in other shades, and yeah, I'm just really enjoying seeing this visible progress in this palette. And yeah, this palette seems to be quite an easy palette to get through fairly quickly and see some good progress in. So that was the update. Hope you liked it. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't seen my project pan update, that's the video before this one, so go and check that one out if you haven't seen it. But thanks once again for watching, and I'll see you again very soon for my next one. Bye.